Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Aaron, and today I want to talk about why I dislike trials, essentially. This wasn't always the case. So, in terms of Cradle, the old Rise of Tiamat, the MSVA, they were all fun trials to me, but this was back in the day when scaling wasn't a thing. Now, when I started hating trials was when Tower of the Mad Mage came into it. I saw a lot of friendships end because of that trial. I saw a lot of guilds just completely go bust because of that trial. Everyone wanted in Tower the Mad Mage. So there was a lot of variety in the runs, especially in Cradle. Like you could go in if you weren't exactly endgame, you could get carried. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes you've got to be carried in order to learn the mechanics, which is what we essentially used to do. But back in the day, we had so much variety. We had the Power Share Pally, we had the Power Share DC, we had the DODC, we had the Master of Flame, we had the Templock. Um, Obviously, we had the Great Weapon Fighters, which were one of the best DPS, along with the Rogues, and the Hunter Rangers were even incredible back then. I get that they are now still, but you have to use them properly. And there was just so much variety in the trials, but nowadays, all it is we need a Rogue, we need a Rogue, we need a Rogue. There's no power share, there's no buff or debuff classes anymore. There's just DPS, tank, and heal. And that's what essentially ruined the variety in the game. They got rid of everything that was good. They got, for example, the paladins. The power share that they would give you is absolutely incredible. The same with the ACDCs. And then the buffs that the Master of Flame would give you, and the debuffs, and then the Templock, and then the DODC. There was just so many classes per trial run, and it's not like that anymore. And in terms of Cradle, back in the day, it was not one-shot mechanics. For example, they relied on different mechanics like, the tentacles. You've got to take down the tentacles or the umbilical cords or whatever you want to call them. And you've got to try not fall off. That was a challenge within itself sometimes. Especially when you've got a Hunter Ranger using his Long Strider shot and then a Guardian Fighter using Into the Fray. It led to some very funny moments, some very fun times, but there are different mechanics in Cradle that are not just one shot. For example, at the very start, you've got to hit the skull into the ghost skull. That's a mechanic. And then you've got to take the cube into the corners. That's a mechanic. This is when the mechanics were just so good. But now, with your Tom, with your Zariel, with your new, I guess, Rise of Tiamat, even though it's the same, and your Crown of Caldegon, it's all one-shot mechanics. All of it. And it's just so cheap, in my opinion. If you're going to have one-shot mechanics, you need to get rid of the revive sickness. You're already being punished enough. You're already in this super hard content. The revive sickness boon has no place when there's one-shot mechanics around every single corner. Tower the Mad Mage was one of them. If you mess up once, just even by 1 millimeter, bang, you're dead. And I absolutely hated it. And ever since that Tower of the Mad Mage got released, I have been 100% put off trials. I used to run trials with Pawns and Kings back before MOD15, and we used to have a lot of fun. We used to have a lot of fun in Cradle. But with all the variety of classes, everyone would enjoy using different classes because they were all useful. But now, when you look at things like Tower of the Mad Mage or Caldegon or whatever, there's certain DPS that they want. And a lot of the time it is a rogue. Obviously works out for me, but I don't enjoy trials. But the wizard, I've seen the wizard requested because the wizard can put out a lot of DPS on the anarchist side. But that is basically the reason that I absolutely hate trials now. It's because of the one-shot mechanics. It's not imaginative. There's nothing original about it. There's no original mechanics. Everything just one-shots. Then yeah, but if you do it right, then you won't die. That's not the point. A game isn't supposed to be that unforgiving where you only get 5 downs. We used to be able to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. I remember we all died in a cradle. It was part of a push-pull. We all died, apart from our healer, our DC, and he was on the like the last bar of health. So the DC tried to do it alone, and the DC used 80 scrolls. He did it, but he used 80 scrolls. So to make up for it, we all gave him 10 scrolls, and then that was his 80 made back. And it was just things like that you could do back then, but now it's just bang, you're dead. Bang, you're dead. And a lot of friendships really have ended because of it. And I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of friendships end, a lot of guilds go bust, people getting kicked from guilds, egos coming out because everyone wants to be top of the damage board, whereas a lot of people just want to complete it, never mind the damage, it's hard enough, let's just complete it, and blah blah blah. But yeah, essentially guys, that is the reason I absolutely hate trials now. Just because I don't do them doesn't mean I can't do them. I know you guys haven't really seen me do trials, but it is because I don't enjoy them. It doesn't mean I can't do them. It just means I have no intention to do them. There's nothing pushing me to do them. There's nothing that drops in there that I need. Therefore, I don't like them. It's as simple as that. But it's actually been quite nice reminiscing about the old times before MOD15, when scaling wasn't a thing and one-shot mechanics weren't relied on. It's actually been fun talking about that, and yeah, a load of memories have popped up in my head, but they were great times. But let me know your thoughts on trials down below. If you guys stopped doing them as well since the one-shot mechanics, do you agree with one-shot mechanics? Let me know below. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you are new, if you want to make your way back to the channel. Thanks for watching, I'll see you guys in the next one.